Good morning, everybody. August 25th. So there is a lot to go over today, to say the least, and we are going to address a lot of it. Um, I think that's really important. I mean, there's a ton going on here. So the most important thing for me is to kind of just focus on what's going on with the indexes in and of themselves, right? So I think that's really where you want to start. Let me just drop this link in a couple spots and then we're good to go. And drop this in the room and go from there. And there we go. So live now. And let me just type that in the trading room as well. The trading room will be open today for the next 5 days for those that want to join, and then we'll close it for a period of time again. So I will post the link in the room when I have time while I'm doing this. So just a ton to go over today. And let's just copy this and click copy. And then just go to, bear with me, doing 1,000 different things. All right. So let's just focus on a couple things here. I think it's really important for you just to understand where you are in the pecking order. I think you have to watch exactly what's going to happen here. I think it's really very important. So just keep your eye on this. Keep your eye how you're playing on that level right there. I think that's very important. I think there's some really important levels out there that you need to focus on. So, that's really where my head is. I actually think that you're actually in a spot. There's the link for the trading room for those that are interested. Again, you're open for 5 days. I pinned the message. I think you're in a really interesting spot. And I think if you drill into this, you can see this very clearly in these levels. Look right here. So you can kind of see what's going on right there, right? And those levels and how you're bouncing around in there. And then we're going to kind of see how we do, right? So we're going to kind of just want to make sure that we watch this, but watch this now. So you can kind of see what's going on. You're seeing this test that level already this morning, right? So are we in a position where resistance is going to flip to support? We just don't know yet. We just don't have an answer to that. So it's definitely something that we have to focus on now. What I think is pertinent is that you've had some decent numbers come out. Jobless claims are down, so more people are getting jobs. PCE prices are in line, which means tomorrow's numbers are going to be in line. GDP quarter versus quarter came in at -6%. I mean, that's not ideal. GDP price index came in a little high, and that could scare people a little bit there. So I would watch that really closely. Let me put these out so people can see this. But this is really hold on one second here. This is really the issue that I see more than anything. Let me just click off of that and show that so you can see that. There's the free newsletter links in the description. And you should be able to, it didn't post. Give me 1 second here. Hold on. Paste. There it goes. That should show GDP. So you actually beat on GDP, which is good. Let's get back into it. So just looking at the index, just watch them really closely today. To me, you're seeing some really good numbers come out of some of these companies. And I'm very surprised by, not the buying, but I think you have to be surprised by what you're seeing. So you're going to have light volume today going in the Jackson Hole tomorrow, but some of these names look like they're just about ready to explode. I mean, this is just crazy how this is acting. It's very hard to not want to pay attention to this, especially Snow when you got to that point where this is really very impressive. Here, just take a look at this so you can understand why I'm so fascinated by it. So the close of that 15-minute bar became the stop. Like you never broke. So let's clear up all these lines for a minute, and I'll show you why I think this is really pertinent. And we'll get rid of all these indicators and drop this in just so you can see that level. So why is that important? Well, this is why it's important. This is your range. Okay. The trades that work the best are the ones that never even test a retracement. This couldn't even retrace close 20%. It couldn't even come in 21%. So you want to watch that. Watch how you act at this 93.61 and 97.71. But this was all across the board. It's a great quarter, and it's being rewarded. So don't rule it out just because you're up a lot. Things can go up a lot more. And I know this is not that kind of market, but you need to watch that. What's going on, Ricardo? Hope you're good. Yeah, Shock, they absolutely crushed. And there's nothing but good things to say there. And I think that that's really what you have to kind of get your head around. Like there's nothing but a good quarter. I listened to conference calls last night. I'm a little bit of a nerd that way. I like listening to them. And, I think that this one was very well done. I think that, NVIDIA was a train wreck, and now you're seeing support right where we were support. I was showing this in the trading room. Hold on one second. And let me just show you so you can see this. You want to know where your lines are so you can see how you're acting at night, right? You see how that level right there. Now look at how that's acting, right? So support flips to what? Resistance, right? And we can all see that. So keep that in mind here. It's definitely something that's pertinent. And I know I'm throwing a lot at you this morning, but there's a lot to go over in the next 45 minutes here. If you focus on names that are beating, you're going to do very well. What's going on, Timo? Hey, Ricardo. Good to see you. It's been a while. CVX. Yep. So these names, they're acting exceptionally well. I mean, exceptionally well, in my opinion. So let's just see how they continue to push and go from there. But I would like to see that break out and get to that 172 level, and then see how we act. Got a little more caffeine, but I'd like to see how we act here. It's acting exceptionally well. I mean, the buy was 160. There were a bunch of people that did it in the trading room. I played with it a little bit. There's very little to say here looking at that weekly chart, except it looks like it's about to rip everyone's face off. I mean, you have 4 weeks of inside bars, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, and then you break out. Each bar is smaller and smaller. This trade's not rocket science. I mean, this should go a lot higher. And you could probably get up to this level, quite frankly. I have a lot. And again, there's a free version of the newsletter below. Went out last night. The next version will go out Friday. Make sure you get that if you want to follow along. But you see this kind of push up, and then you get to here. Like, this is a no-brainer. The only reason that, quite frankly, these kinds of names, I'm not putting them all in the newsletter is because I've got other ones in there, and I don't want to be completely beholden to one sector, right? So, but these names look like they're ready to take out highs. CVX looks amazing. What's up, boss? And you can see names like this. Like, look at XOM. Like, you're going to break through. You should get to that 105 level. I think you look good. I mean, I think this whole sector looks good. I'm bouncing around in this, and it opens up, it goes, it comes back down. Like, they have a real problem with natural gas, and it's not going away. There's a real problem with crude oil. Okay. It's not going to go away. And kind of go from there. So hold on one second. And let's just focus on that. So you could see that level right there. I mean, you really want to short this? Like, I don't know. I don't get the oil short, like, at all. I really don't. I think that these names look exceptional. And I think you're betting against, something. I mean, Russia issued a statement where they made it very clear that they have no intention of diplomacy, right? I mean, they've made that clear. Like, what's the point at this? Like, they don't need it now. They needed it before. Like, some really hardline stance. So if sanctions aren't lifted, then this stuff becomes very clear where crude oil and these names are going. Very clear, especially with the current, policies that are out there globally with this. So I like it, Timo, a lot. And that's not a knock on anyone's policies. It's just, these are the current policies. What's going on, Alex? It is a great morning. Snow, yep, absolutely. Looks amazing. And what's going on, Ant? So, MO, let's take a look. Let's see what's going on there. So, yep, these kinds of names that you buy them when they blow up. This is the Jewel debacle, and it's going to go out of business. Look, the thing about MO is you have to always constantly look at the yield. Okay. Um, you have a yield of what, 8% on this name. So people that bought down here, just to kind of put this in perspective, I just want to kind of get your head around this. Okay. So the people that bought down here, right, are now getting 9% on their money for life. Okay. I'm not saying that someday people don't stop smoking. We all know smoking's bad. People are free to do whatever they want. Okay. And people are going to smoke. You're getting 8%. You can either make money off of it or not. I mean, I'm not going to get into the morality of it. So if you take a look at this and you focus on these levels, like, where do you think that's going? Right. So, and someone's going to make 8-9% on their money, and this is going to probably get to 53. And there's very little to do there except stay with that trade. If you look at where you're on the 21, I guarantee you, Damien, if you look here, like, check this out, buddy. Hold on. Let me show you this. I guarantee you have gaps in here. Yeah. See them? So I knew you were going to have gaps in here, and I'm going back a year, I believe, on this. I know you're going back 6 months. So, well, actually about 9. So when you see something like this push, you definitely want to pay attention to it. And that's where my head is with it. Like, I don't know why you wouldn't want to own it if you're just interested in a dividend yielding stock. I mean, you're better off buying this than AT&T. The people that preach by AT&T, I never got. Like, they're losing customers, right? They're losing customers left and right. This dividend's going to have to be cut. It's a question of when. So for me, yeah, I mean, Philip Morris makes a lot of sense if you're dividend hunting. So absolutely keep that in mind. I do like that from that standpoint. Flakes or XOP look weeks. Yep. I'm not really worried about XOP. It's definitely something I have a position in. I like it. I don't really understand why people, look, this is how you trade. And then you get some news, and then it scares everybody. And then the people that don't understand, they get flushed out. And then you pop, now this morning you're set to pop over that level and go again, right? So that puts you in a position where you're probably heading to here very, very quickly. Okay. How the sector is not going to go up is just beyond me. I just don't get it at all. It's got to go up. It's just a question of when. So I think it makes sense to look at, and that's what we've been doing. So let's just keep going here. So, yep, run and CHPT. So I really like this whole sector. This sector may actually finally have bottomed. I've been looking at this, calling this a wonky cup, like a broken cup. It's not really. It's more like a W, right? Like a wonky W. You can see that. Now you're setting up here again. Look how you're acting right at that 21 day. I can't stress this enough on your trades. Make sure you're watching the 21 day and watching how your stocks are reacting to that 21 day, right? You especially want to pay attention to that when the NASDAQ's below the 21 day, right? And your stock's not. Maybe that's something to pay attention to. So I like this sector. I like how you're turning right here on the RSI. If you've been following me for some time, you know that I watch it. What's going on, Bob? So to me, that is what I would focus on. Now, in regards to, your specific name, it's going to look a lot like a mitigated version of this. I've got a really shallow cup. I'm not sure what we do here. You do have a level right here that I would be watching, and I can get rid of all these horizontal lines so that you can just kind of focus on it. We can get rid of this as well. And you can see that level right here and see if you're going to flip and if you're going to keep pushing, right? I don't see how this sector doesn't go higher right now. I really don't. But the volume is just falling off a cliff. And I think a lot of people are scared to chase these names, right? So you have names like ENPH where you are breaking out, holding that level right in here, and then pushing higher. And that's what you want to focus on, right? You want to focus on these names that are holding their levels and then pushing higher. That's really where your head wants to be. That's where my head wants to be. So if I would focus on those, CHPT, what's going on, trade? So see how you rejected that 21 day. See how you're rejecting 16. So it's not something I would go near. See how you're under the 50 and maybe you're going to get over. See if that does get over, and then I'd also just draw a line on your RSI and just watch that and go, well, that's not ideal, right? And we just blow that up really quickly. So I'm below. We can actually make that a little tighter, can't we? So let's just make that a little tighter. Okay, maybe not. So we're going to try to make that a little tighter right here, and then just drop this down so you can see that a little clearer. Okay, and move that back up there. So you can see pretty clearly that you broke. I'm not so sure you want to play with that. Every time I do this, there we go. So I'm not so sure you want to play with that. I think that you might just want to, watch that one. I think the other trade was much better of an idea. I really do. I like that trade a lot more, the run trade, but I think it needs to set up before you do anything. I think it needs to set up there. Now, MO, I got a couple people on MO. They have news out or something. Did I miss news? It's interesting. Yeah, I like it. I mean, I can't stress that enough. I mean, there's your level. It's pretty clean level, 48, 45, 88. Let me flip these to the bottom right and go from there. So you can see that level right there very clearly, and you can see how we're acting on that level. So, definitely something to watch, to say the least. Now, in regards to what's going on, John? Good morning. Indexes, messy uranium stocks moved yesterday. Yeah. So I didn't play those. I know some people in the trading room did, and they did exceptionally well. I was looking at this one today. My only thought was watching that 2733 this morning. My issue with them is that I'm so over here that I almost feel like I have to pull back. Like, when you're at like an 89 or a 90 on these levels, I'll tell you exactly where you are. Like a 90, I mean, you can only go so far. Now, that doesn't mean you're going to stop going up, but it does mean that you're going to have to work this off and probably come back down to here somewhere. And that was a lot of dumping at the end of the day. I am watching these, and apparently that was very good news. And you're seeing the move like all in tandem. For me, it's just very hard to buy things that are up on those levels. But do they look good? Yeah, they look like they could run again. I mean, that's a big volume, right? So you might consolidate for a couple days. You can see I'm not completely overbought on the long-term chart, right? So, and this is kind of what I was trying to explain before when we went over in the trading room. Like, yeah, you're overbought, so you worked it off. Now you're back down to a neutral stance. Same thing here, but you're at a neutral and flipping, trying to get into overbought. So short term, you're probably overbought, but long term, probably not. So if you were in this, probably stay in it and see how it plays out, right? Let it develop. That's what you have to do with your winners. So let them develop. And let's just keep rocking and rolling here. I like them, John. I mean, I think that they looked very good yesterday. I think they acted exceptionally. Yeah, I keep hearing about this Array, ARRY, and I'm just not seeing anything with it. So what we're going to focus on is just that level and seeing if you can flip it. If you can, and you want to try it, go for it. I find it interesting that I'm hearing so many people talk about it. That usually means to me that's floating out there in some kind of like social media platform. You're back over the 5. That's impressive. But I've got this downward trend line. Maybe if I could flip this, I could go higher, 21.93, and then see how you act at that 24 level. That's where your seller is. I am watching it. A lot of people are asking me about it. This is turning. The RSI is turning a little bit. That's important. I would focus on that as well. I would look at it. Dow, when you start looking at like the airlines, like Dow, these names tend to move as one big unit, and you can focus on that or not. But here's my thought on it, right? Like this is kind of where my head is with it. If you are looking at names like this, okay, and you are focused on names like this, what I would strongly suggest is that you just trade this, unless you are waiting for some kind of target or something. They all trade in tandem. So to me, it's just easier to just trade jets. I mean, it's the same exact. They're all exact. They all trade in tandem. The only major difference is if you're going to buy like Alaska Air because you want to own the strongest balance sheet, or you want to buy JetBlue because you're interested in the strongest balance sheet, right? Things like that. But then you have people like that want to play UAL because they're more levered, right? So when this leverage turns, they really run. I have a hard time telling people to buy the airline names at all. Like I just don't see it. Could you hold? Could you go back up to this level? Yeah, absolutely you could. I mean, this is pretty clean level, right? Hold on. Just put that in there so you can see it. There it is. Right? So support, breaks, resistance, support, breaks, resistance. I mean, that's pretty clean where you're supposed to be focused on, right? I mean, that makes it pretty obvious your area. So that's what I would say that you could probably get to. That's up to you if you want to try that or not. If you look at it from that perspective here, right? And you can kind of see how you're acting right there and how you're going to do. So that would be my, where my head would be. Not something I would do. Fold. Yep. I mean, names like this, you kind of have to watch. When you start breaking out of these levels, you definitely want to watch that. My thought is that you would kind of look at how you act when you break through these flags. Sometimes you break and then you pull back down, consolidate, and go higher. These kinds of moves, I think you need to just watch. Like, where's my volume on that? I don't have a ton of volume. I don't know what the news was. It acted exceptionally well when you broke through this. So I'm not saying I would rule it out, but you went up and then you just kind of sat there, took out that low. It's up to you what you want to do with it. Getting over that level is pretty big though, isn't it? Now let's focus here on, your levels, and we'll see what's going on. Like here's fold, right? Yeah. I mean, I'd watch that really closely. If you can get over these levels, right? And you get over 13, what was the high of this? Yeah, it's called 13. You could start working in that bar. That would get interesting on a weekly basis. That would get really interesting. You could start working that off. That might be appealing to me, but smaller names you got to watch, Cameron, but that can definitely work. I'd like to see more volume. Yeah. NXE URG. So, I mean, like, look, I just caveat, I have a position in UNG. I don't see how. I honestly don't see how this is going lower. I'm not saying it can't go lower. I just don't see it. Usually what these things are doing is hitting highs, working its way back down, then hitting highs again. You can see how you're respecting the 21-day. I would strongly suggest people focus on their 21-day moving averages. I like them. I don't really see any issue with them at all. I know they're very tough to trade. NXE, I mean, these are the kinds of names. I don't really trade the smaller names, but I get this trade. I understand it. Like, it makes perfect sense. You see something like this where you're popping out and then could go. Absolutely. So you want to watch things like that, like watch that 443 level and then go from there. So definitely something to consider. Now, that's how I would map out that trade. Your X going. How's my dollar X going? How's X going? I don't know how X is going. Let's take a look, Alex. So, I mean, 21-day right off of the RSI 50. This is a cup. This is a handle, right? I mean, it doesn't get much cleaner than that. You have to buy this and be willing to risk $2. And that's really where your focal point has to be. If you're willing to do that, do the trade. If you're not willing to do that, don't do the trade. And, it's really just that simple. And, and we'll go from there. But we have to watch that level and kind of see where you're going to get to, right? Are you going to push higher or you're not going to push higher? And we just don't know yet. So if possible, can you take a look at figs? Yep. I was looking at that this morning. I like this name. Look, don't get me wrong. That's acting well. I'm actually surprised how well that's acting considering where oil is. Yep. I know a lot of people are looking at this. I'm not saying it's not going to work. I got a lot of questions about it via social media, Twitter, Instagram, whatever. But the point that I'm getting at with it is you need to put yourself in a position where, how can I say this? You need to put yourself in a position where you kind of look at the alt world that players are. Like, is that something you really want to get involved with? Like, why are you buying that? Right? I don't really have the answer to that as to why I would buy this. Like, look, do you want to be involved there? I don't know. I mean, it's not really that exciting to me. You already popped up, lured a bunch of people in, right? And then crushed them. And then you pulled back. So it's not something that I would be going, crazy about here at all. One of the rules that I try to get people to understand in the trading room is this. Watch that first 15-minute bar. Like that. I can't tell you how many times this little simple thing has gotten people into trades. I can't tell you. I mean, it's gotten a lot of people in the trades and it's got a lot of people out of trades. Just look at that first 15 minutes. I mean, when you see those levels, you really want to pay attention to them. Like, look at snow. See the difference? I mean, look how snow reacted after those first 15 minutes. Look how fig reacted, right? I got a wick, so we have rejection on half the bar, which means only this half was bought. Anything that we got into, that we started having more selling here than we had here. So I'd be cautious there. It's not something I would be chasing. So GDXU. Yep, let's take a look and see how we're doing. So, yep, names like this, I would definitely watch and I would see how they act. And I'd go from there and, see how we can go forward with them. So, I like both of those. I do. I like both of those. And, you have to kind of see them pop over that line and then maybe go. See how you're over here? I mean, it could go. You just got to think, what are you doing? You're bottom fishing, right? So you're going to have to wait. Like, you're being predictive, right? Like, there's nothing about this that tells you it can go, but you're looking at this RSI, right? And where you're at in regards to it. So, like, here's what I'm getting at, Viv. So, like, there's your line, right? Then here's your RSI, right? So your RSI is telling you that the momentum or velocity is going to increase, right? Like, that's what it's telling us, okay? That's exactly what that is telling us. So what does that mean? That means we have to flip and we have to see what's going on and we have to go from here. 505, see if you can flip that 505 and go from there. And kind of see how it works. This is kind of how we bought LABU. I don't know if you remember that or not. But remember when I think you were in the trading room at that time. Yep, please hit the like button. It helps greatly with the algorithm. And for those asking, the trading room is open for the next 5 days. Links at the top in a pinned comment. So, and then we close the trading community for a period of time, let people adjust, new members. Anyway, remember when we bought this down here, right, Viv? I don't know if I think you were in the room at the time. But like, we bought this at like 440, like that was our first buy. That was definitely something where when we got into it, you definitely wanted to take a look and see how we were going to do. And I think that played out perfectly, right? We did exceptionally well with it, but you had to wait weeks for it to really work. So you're in a kind of similar starting situation here. Maybe it works. Maybe it takes out the low. So you're going to have to really give it time and see how that goes. Hey, Optimistic. So I hope that helps, Viv. LNG. Yep. So those kinds of names. And when you tell me stuff like that, like where you're in from, it helps me give you my, opinion. Obviously, it's not financial advice. It's just an opinion. But names like this, yeah, I mean, they're just on a tear. I mean, these are like this is what I'm talking about. Like these kinds of bases and you're running, like there's, and you're in from 68, like there's nothing to do here, man. Nothing. Leave it alone. Like just leave it alone. The issue is that you're getting insane with some of this, right? Like 86 is a big number for an RSI like that. Like that's a big number. So you might have some kind of blow off and then work that off and then go back up. Like that's a huge number for a trade like that. Like it's probably the highest it's ever been. So you really want to just be cautious of that, right? So in other words, if you watch this daily break down over this line, you'd probably want to get out of the way. That's how I would view it as well. So, but it looks great, Alex. Congrats. What's up, boss? Oh, you're welcome. Hey, Brian. Cool shot. Your analysis for Foot Locker yesterday, I might put some place, sharpen my conviction. That's great. Congrats. Congrats on your trade. I mean, that's all I can do is give an opinion on how what I would do. But that doesn't really look like it's going to stay there, does it? I'd watch that doji now. I don't know if you're still in the trade, but if that doji breaks, you can go back down to here. It's up to you how much room you want to give that, or if you're already out of that trade, but just watch that 37.11 level and kind of go from there. And we can kind of see how that plays out. So let's do Walmart, but watch that. If you're still in it, I wouldn't go past 37.11 if it was me. So Walmart, I kind of like. I was looking at this morning. I think you're seeing a little bit of a turn in these names, right? So you had all this selling for 4 days. We have to get out. No one's going to go to Walmart anymore. And then all of a sudden we kind of catch this level. So sometimes it helps to put in these pre and post levels so you can kind of see where all the players are. I like this a lot. And I think that this could absolutely push higher. So I like the name. I have a position in the name. It's not in the newsletter. It's not in the trading room. We had a position in it. We got stopped out of it. It is what it is. I have some options that are basically worthless, I think, at this point. There's worth a little bit of money, but it is what it is. And I should probably talk about that for a moment here. You have to understand that you're in a trading market trying to position build. So when you have spikes and you're not willing to take the risk of being stopped out at break even, you need to get out. Like you're not in a V-shaped recovery. You're in a U. You're in a very long U-shaped recovery that's going to be very torturous to people that don't know how to trade, right? So just keep that in mind. What do I think about it? I like it. I think it's a very simple trade, right? I mean, there's your stop, Sully, right? 33.25, 133. I mean, it doesn't get more obvious, your level to me. And if you're looking longer term, if I was going to look for options, maybe you should consider like October, those kinds of things. So, John, I like that name. I was looking at it. I'll cover it in a minute. I definitely like that name. Hey, Matthew. Yep. I like XBI a lot. Again, this is something, candidly, we bought this in the trading room yesterday. A lot cheaper than the 90 it's trading at now. I like it a lot. And I think that people are grossly underestimating what's really going to happen here. So you're turning and you're running. And to me, it just looks great. And, you're up another 1% today. The other one that, we did, or some people did in the trading room, and I did as well, was just start buying more of this. I've been doing this since down here, if you've been following along, but to me, I don't see how we're not getting back to this 13. I don't see how you don't see inflows into these names. Now, this can all shift tomorrow if PCE comes in and it's awful. If that's the case, then yeah, we could have a problem. So, we definitely want to take a look at that. So let me just see something here. Someone just typed something to me. So I'm gonna watch this. So it looks like they cut a deal with Amazon. Is that what they're doing? So that seems to be working, doesn't it? Yeah, see if that continues to hold or if that pulls back. Looks like the majority of that move might be over already. So let's get back to it. But I like that space a lot. I think people are grossly underestimating this space, and I would definitely be focused on biotech. I think you're better off. This is how I've been doing. I've been doing better in biotech playing the sector and the sector funds than buying the names that I like. Okay. I love this name. Every single time it pulls the banana in the tailpipe and just knocks the legs out, right? Total Karate Kid every single time, sweep the leg, and it just takes you back out. So there are names like that that I just want to watch. See this CRISPR? Like this name, like this just makes so much sense to buy this company. And all it does is just keep, smashing your hopes and dreams over and over again. So we've done better in buying the sector. What's going on, Tree? Because the sector in and of itself is seeing inflows because pricing is so depreciated, right? I think at one point, like 30% of the names were trading under cash. Like, I don't think people understand how oversold we really got. What's up, Timo? Hey, Far. Yep. AVGO and Exis and Wings. Let's talk about those names. AVGO. Yep. So I can see that here. Maybe. I don't know, man. Like you really have to watch these. Like, here's your larger issue is that you're in a downtrend on all these names, right? So even if you use this pivot here, right? You can see that right there, right? Okay. Kind of, there's even another one right there. But do I really want to be buying these kinds of semiconductor names right now? I don't know that I do. It's a great company, but I'm not so sure I want to buy that here. EXAS. And we'll go from there. But like, yeah, like this, look, this is going to sound weird, but you need to look at stuff like this. Like, I understand that you're in a major downtrend, but if you're looking out long term, this is the kind of stuff that you want to see if you're going to form a bottom, right? This is where you start to see if you can form a bottom. See how that undercuts right there, undercut. See if you can flip up to that level, 42.50. If you can, you could probably push 49 to 42 and kind of go from there. Plug's getting a lot more volume. Looks like it might have hit the tape again. Just watch that. Seems to have gotten another oomph there out of that news. Flip that little flag. It's not really my kind of trade, especially now that you're all the way up here at a 96 RSI. It's a matter of time before that works its way off. But some people want to play that for the scalp. So I figured I'd throw that out there. But I'm not a huge fan of that. I like the EXAS if you're bottom fishing afar. I like that if you're bottom fishing. If you're not bottom fishing, you kind of have to watch that a little bit, because of what's going on there. I'm not saying Plug's done. I'm saying that Plug is got a huge, you're really overbought, right? Like, 85 is not sustainable. So it could go to 90, but it's not sustainable. And just keep that in mind. But that's good Plug news. That's good. Good for them. I hope something good comes of that. Now let's just keep going. Wingstop. Let's do Wingstop. They're all over Florida. All over. I've never eaten at one. I don't think I've ever eaten at one. People seem to love it though. These are the kinds of names you really want to watch. And you have these huge dips, right? You have these huge dips, and now you have a cup, right? So you kind of have to watch these. For me, I think that level is marked pretty clearly, don't you? That 127.02. I mean, that kind of seems like the right level to look at, don't you think? That would get us over the 21. That would get us some confirmation. It would get us into this, change the momentum of the name a little bit. So I think that might be a good idea. And I'd probably wait for something like that to happen and see how we do. What's up, Bob? Hey, Stuart. Any levels on Tesla? Absolutely. So I'm watching it. I think that your 314 level is glaring, Stuart. I mean, I think that's absolutely glaring. So right now I've got this, gravestone bar right above a 21. That's not my kind of trade right now. So, you're up on that news, but are you? Is that going to push? I don't know. I mean, you have stocks going higher and the RSI is going lower. right? It's pretty much a negative divergence. I wouldn't be crazy about buying that right here. I need some kind of confirmation that we're going to turn around. What's going on, Stoke? So I would need some kind of confirmation that we're going to turn around. What's going on, trade? Yeah, Ape. So there's a really interesting trade going on with this stuff. So what you're saying, and I think it was Chanos that came out with it. These two companies are really the same, and what they're doing is, and anything can trade, right? You can trade wherever you want, but essentially they split the company up, right? And the point that they're saying is that these two should trade in tandem. So what people are doing is they're buying Ape and they're shorting AMC and saying eventually it's going to take time, but eventually these two names will trade in parity. That's what they're saying. So I think that kind of trade, I love those kinds of pair trades that when they work, like they're a lot of fun because you don't really do anything. You just leave them on and then they work. But I don't know. I think you have a lot of irrationality here with this name, and people just might want to own something that has the moniker Ape in it. I'm not really sure. You look at that level and where you're at, and you're opening right there. This is a huge long-legged doji. You really want to play with that? Do you really want to play with that? So I'm not so sure that you do. And we'll go from there. Let's just keep going through these names. I don't know. I mean, you could try it. It's not really something I'm crazy about. Edit. So let's take a look at Edit. Sure. Uh, 14, and then you just go to 17. Yep. So I don't know. Maybe. I'm not really crazy about that. I think you already had your like kind of easy move over this to get in with your tight stop. You're kind of paying up here a little bit. I don't know that I would do that trade. Plug just keeps seeing volume just come in every dip. That just keeps seeing volume over and over again, doesn't it? So it's definitely something to focus on. Kind of go from there. That looks like it's going to push. Crazy. See how that goes. Tesla, we went over. NVIDIA, yep. So this is my thought on NVIDIA. I'm going to get 9:15, aren't I? I'm going to have to fly through these. And we'll see how we do, and we'll go from there. See how you act here. I mean, I'm not a buyer of this. I saw a lot of people asking about it. Wow, I'm really behind, aren't I? So let's go through these names and go from there. I'm going to have to hit the big ones. I'm sorry, guys. I went on too many rants today. I'll try to do less rants. What's up, Optimistic? Affirm. Yep, let's do it. So I'm not really sure. Look, let's go through this here. Okay. And okay, I don't know how you're going to act today. I'd be really cautious of stocks that are below the 21 day, and I'd watch you go here. I don't think this company is going to be around. These buy now, pay later companies. I don't get it for like what, toothpaste? Like, I just don't get it. So go from there. Please like this video. It helps me greatly with the algorithm. The more people we get in here, the more ideas we get. I do selfishly sometimes miss things and go from there. John, I definitely want to cover GWM before you wrap up. Hey, Jen. So, I'll just run through energy. I mean, it's the biggest focal point in our trading community right now. I think you could pop out. I definitely think that could be at a new high a lot sooner than people think. Oxy, all I kept hearing was that it's going to come in. Okay. So, we're up $10 in it now. I think it looks excellent. You're seeing a ton of volume come into that name. Very little to do there. Jen, I like it. No problem being late. I'm there all the time. Does BNO Brent work as an indicator for crude? It could. I mean, I don't know. I don't know, buddy. Let me just see if that works here. No, that does not work for me on this thing. JWN, I think we're a day early. I think I was a day early there yesterday. I think I'm early. I was early there, brother. Like, I still think you're going to turn like you did every other, right? Bonk. I mean, every other one. I think I'm early. And when you see that kind of volume, someone in the room had a good point. I think it was Imran. He's like, this was the first time they really didn't give like a lot of confidence and guidance. Sometimes I think they're doing that just to knock the stock down. I'm a little bit of a conspiracy theory person with that. I like that. I'd like to see it hold that level, John. I'd like to see it hold today's level, form like a bullish harami, and give us a really small entry possibly tomorrow, John. I like that. I do like the trade still. I have not ruled out the trade. I think we might be able to get it off with a very cheap position. Yep, you trade it up. You're trying to break through here. Make sure you flip that doji before you get involved on that name. What's going on, Hope? Welcome. Thanks, man. Appreciate that. It means a lot to me, actually. Put a lot of time into this. Actually fun. I actually like doing it. Yep, please like the video. NVIDIA might cost 174. Yeah, I mean, here's my thought, Hope, on that. I would be really careful there. I'm sorry, I typed in the word hope. I'd be really careful here. These were bad numbers, and they weren't great. And this is my trend line, and I'm rejecting a little bit. You need to make sure you close over 167.24. If you don't, you're probably going to have a problem. And if I was in this and I was staying in it and I have no position in it now, you have to use that low as a stop. Give me a second and I can stay for a couple more minutes. So usually try to wrap this up at 9:15. I'll stay a little bit longer since I'm behind. Apologize for that. Too many rants. So, but I do think that names like that can get back to these highs. I'd be trying to mitigate my position if I was in it. I just don't want to own stocks that missed earnings. So it's that simple. Hey, Sarathia. Hope you're well. Affirm. Yep. I think we went through it. I would just watch that level that we just went through, and I'd watch this really closely, Sarathia. I would watch that 33 level very, very closely. I mean, this is look, get rid of this. Okay. And you have a bear flag under resistance. You're below the 50. Do you really want to be playing with, or below the 50 line on the RSI? Do you really want to be playing with that? RSG, sure. Let's do it. I'm going to try and do these like a lightning round, power through them. These are kinds of names you want to look at. These are the kinds of names you really want to focus on. Like if you can get through that and all that nonsense right there, that's what you want. They're the kinds of names that you want. They're the kinds of names that you definitely want. So keep that in mind. That's funny. Yeah, you got to get through there. I could cover that. Sure, I can cover CCL and Amazon and Walmart. I went through the mood too. I'll do it again real quick. Yeah, I'm not a fan of this. I'm really not. Like, for me, it's that 11, 12 level, and I'd still watch it and go from there. Oh, you're welcome. So, yep, please like the video. It does help me with the algorithm. Amazon, Walmart. Amazon, we had a trade in. We basically got round tripped on it. I think you can hold this 132.41. And I think if you hold the 132.41, you're going higher. Yeah, that's where my head would be on that, John. That's how I would trade that, John. And the Walmart. Let's just see what's going on there. So, and just see how you hang in there. I like them. I like them both. I'd watch that 134.45 level. I think that they got grossly overdone. All right, I am out of here. If you're interested in the trading room, the link is posted in description and in this pinned comment. It's open for the next 5 days. Everybody have a great trading day.